Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, welcome on in, everybody. Welcome to another week. Welcome to another Monday right here on JJ and Alex, the KSL Sports Zone, all of it. Oh, we're watching a replay of the Dallas Cowboys blowing a lead.
How about J.J. McCarthy last night?
What's funny is,
Had a good game.
I don't know, like, who's more schizophrenic as a team? You know what I mean? Like, you just, like, one week there's something, and then another there's something else, you know?
Talking about the Vikings or the Cowboys?
No, the Cowboys, sorry.
Oh, the Cowboys for sure.
But
But that's been their identity for...
a good 13 years, 15 years?
More than that.
Jeez.
Remember all the Tony Romo years where you're like, it's finally their year, and just never got over the hump.
But he was good, too.
Oh, of course, no. Jason Witten, the Cowboys have had great teams over the years. Hall of Fame players on that team over the last 3 decades.
But you wouldn't know it. Poor Doug Martin had to live through. He finally retired and just went, I can't do this anymore. Take all my all pros and I'll retire with somewhat of a version of my health. You know, like that is. It's a weird thing to watch a team that is quote unquote America's team. That their best. Oh, it's like some version of BYU fans talking about the '84 championship. You know, Notre Dame talking about their 1988 championship. Like we are
1988.
We are the best team, and you're like, well, you were 40 years ago,
right?
And in Notre Dame's case, like they still carry that. Notre Dame's a good comp because Notre Dame continues to be like our brand. They think that their brand actually makes it to where they're good, and it doesn't. It hasn't got them anything in terms of national championships. Hey, look, they went to the Natty last year. They went
there
to
with Manti Te'o.
They went there with Manti Te'o in 13 or 12
They've had
or whatever.
Flashes.
Yeah,
but they've never been able to maintain the level of excellence that they want to be treated for. Does that make sense?
I thought you were going to say
they want to be considered elite, but they haven't maintained a consistency of that elite level of play over a long period of time in 40 years.
I thought you were going to say
even in the 80s it was short-lived.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say they haven't gotten to the point that the Kansas City Chiefs have gotten to.
Well,
which may they rest.
Yes. Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Oh, you guys in the AFC West are
oh my gosh,
all
you don't
sorts
understand.
of excited.
9 years in a row? Look, all the respect to the Chiefs. That's a heck of a run. 9 years in a row winning a division. How many years in a row have they been either to isn't it 6 years in a row they've been to a championship game of some kind?
6 or 7, and then 5 Super Bowls out of the last 5 Super Bowls out of the last 7 they've gone to, and they won 3 of those, obviously.
That streak of 9 goes back to the Alex Smith days.
That's crazy. I thought you were going to say Joe Montana. Remember that weird time frame when there's Joe Montana and Marcus Allen? You're like, what are we doing?
We're going way back now.
Oh, I know.
Speaking of 1988 Notre Dame.
I know.
That's what the Raiders love to talk about, the 80s.
I feel like now with the rules of college football, you're going to see a team that revamps itself with a bunch of guys who maybe even used to play in the NFL. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get to. Feels like college basketball's kind of gotten that way, but, you know, it is what it is. Hey, happy Monday to you. We got a lot of weekend to get with you
weekend.
on.
That NFL Sunday was fantastic.
It was really good. Lots of good games, and all of the things that came with that, really awesome.
Thank you, Army, Navy, for reminding us why we love college football. That was great.
What's funny is I couldn't convince my kids that it was a good game.
Why?
Because they're like 17, 16, running the football. I'm like, look at the pageantry. Look at the cadets, dude. Look at the shipmen, look at the midshipmen, and look at the cadets up in the crowd. Like, don't you get jacked up for this? The president tossed the coin, man.
It was a comeback win.
And they came back to win.
They went for it on fourth down. The drama was great.
I know. Navy,
it's everything you want. That's why you tune in.
And look, Navy, congrats to them because since Ken Niumatalolo left, like they couldn't string it together. So to go 10 wins on the year is
and they're doing the same thing offensively, but with wrinkles, with tweaks.
One of their receivers ended his career as the leading receiver of all time at Navy, which I think was 97 yards total. It's just, but they always get you with that one pass during the game that you go,
they do.
Boy, they lulled everybody to sleep on that.
Long-time college football fans in this state understand Air Force and how they would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Just an occasional strike just to keep you honest.
Yeah. Well, let's kick off the show officially here. Let's get going with our weekends. In true fashion, like we do with our show, we have one Heisman voter on our staff of 3 here on the program. It's Jeremiah Jensen. And I told him before he came in, because now what's weird is I beg him to give me hey, tell me what your ballot's going to be before the weekend. Nope, not going to do it.
Can't do it.
And I go, okay, I like your integrity. And then he comes in on Monday, and instead of asking for it, I go, let's do it on the air. Let's do it. So I haven't heard JJ's ballot, but I'm going to guess it. And then Annapolis, you can give your guess too. It has to be different than mine. All right? So we're going to have those guesses a little bit later. But first, it's all been buttoned up. When we last left you, it was Friday afternoon. The Friday News Dump brought us Kyle Whittingham stepping down from the program as the head coach at Utah football. And then, of course, everything else moved into place over the weekend officially. Let's kick off the show here. Top of the program, it's The Cut. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. That's TrajanWealth.com. Hey, next Sunday night's game is pretty darn good, right?
Yeah, they flexed into Patriots-Ravens.
That's a good game.
Ravens fighting for their playoff lives. If the Steelers win tonight over the Dolphins, the Ravens are in trouble. Can you imagine? No Chiefs and no Ravens in the AFC playoffs this year? Very real.
I'll tell you what, Josh Allen will be thanking his lucky stars because those are two teams that have had that have been a problem for him in the past. At the very least, the Chiefs have always had his number. The Ravens have been tough year like kind of an every other year thing for them. But, man, yeah, the AFC, it's not fun to not have really, really good teams in there. But, the play's on the field. And I was telling Alex Annapolis and I were talking about this, and I actually had a conversation with somebody about, it's not – the NFL got worse when guys like Patrick Mahomes are out. When you talk about it, you talk about the scale, and there's not really anybody like him, right? There are other versions of really good quarterbacks across. I think Justin Herbert is becoming a semi-superstar in front of our eyes here. I mean, he's been doing that for a little bit, but I think the Chargers' defense is going to be a problem for you guys. Are you guys playing this week? Chargers, Broncos? Is that this week?
I was so excited about this week. I haven't even looked at
I think it's Chiefs, Broncos. Or I think it's Chiefs, Chargers this week, maybe. No. That was this week. It's going to be, I think it's your Broncos and the Chargers this weekend. If it's not, it's coming up. And so I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be a good game because the Chargers are going to be fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, you're right. It's Chargers this week.
Are they at SoFi?
Oh, no, sorry. It's Jaguars. Chargers are the last game of the season.
By the way, the Jaguars are kind of good.
The Broncos host the Jags. By the way, the Jaguars.
That's a 48-point. They got the defensive coordinator for the Jets fired. Yeah, man.
Justin Lawrence had 6 touchdowns yesterday. If you started him in your fantasy football playoffs, you have a big grin on your face today. Yeah, Broncos-Jaguars is turning out to be a huge game. And then they've got the Chiefs on Christmas Day, and then they finish with the Chargers.
Ooh, the Chiefs on Christmas Day with Gardner Minshew. That doesn't sound as good, does it? Can they flex out of that?
It's too late. Prime is locked in.
Right, and it's a triple header, right? Sunday or the Christmas Day's a triple header now.
It's all locked in, yeah.
Yeah, so
you can't move off
either way, you're gonna have that masthead of who do you put on that thing? Who do you put on the screen?
For the Chiefs?
Yeah. You can't put Minshew up there. Pacheco?
You got to put Kelsey.
Oh, yeah. No, just put Taylor Swift.
Just do that.
And have it be the two where they're looking at each other.
Yes,
they're the two that you just show. Yeah. Okay. All right, we got to figure it out. Kyle Whittingham, of course, steps down officially. We're going to chat with one of his former players coming up in about 15 minutes here. But now that you've had a weekend to think about the stepping down, did it feel more like a retirement than it did on Friday when we were just loving the conjecture of whether or not he was going to go take a gig in Ann Arbor at Michigan or wherever the wind takes him? I had this thought after it was all done, especially when Morgan Scalley was officially named the head coach of Utah football. I thought, Okay, you know what? Maybe this feels more. It felt more like he was going to be done with the full-on head coaching, at least. I don't know if that means. And I don't want to see him do some. People are going, "Oh, he can go be an analyst." I'm like, no, he can't. He can be the consultant. He can have an office up at the University of Utah, which is going to be the case. And I think he'll help with a lot of things, especially as Morgan Scalley's trying to get his feet under him as a head coach. I just wonder what the next version of Kyle Whittingham looks like. I wonder what the next version of Utah football looks like, because I think that people think that it's going to be a 1-to-1 comparison between Morgan Scalley and Kyle Whittingham. Why is it not 1-to-1, though, do you think, JJ? What is different about those two guys, you think?
Well, I think the demeanor, right? I think there's they're not the same person. They're not the same personality. They're very different people.
Scalley's more fun? Is that what you'd say? A little bit more?
Oh, I think for sure.
The funner conversations I've ever had in my life between those two coaches is definitely Morgan Scalley, but he had a lot less on his plate.
Yeah. I mean, in Morgan, so I've known Morgan a long time. Went to college with him, and also he interned here at KSL a long time ago.
That's funny.
And he was a great intern, and we had a great time doing it. He worked as hard as an intern here as he worked in everything else. I mean, let me tell you about Morgan Scalley. The dude worked hard in the classroom. He worked hard in the field. He worked hard in everything he did. The dude just goes hard with everything he does. And I recognized that when I was around him at that time. And nothing surprises me about where he is today. I think that he's going to be doing that. He's going to want to succeed as much as he possibly can. And he's going to attack this job in a way that others don't, because of the passion he has for the school and for the program. Because it truly, a lot of people go at this as a profession. They go at things because it's their job and it's what they do. And you see a lot of coaches can easily bounce around because that's their approach. Like Urban Meyer was just a CEO, and he just bounced around from company to company, basically. And he had a way of doing things, and he took that way of doing things everywhere. Morgan is totally 100% invested in Utah succeeding and Utah being great. And his focus is on nothing else, because he's loved this program since he was born, since he can remember.
Right.
His dad played there. And he grew up in a time when Utah wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Right?
And in a neighborhood.
For those of you who grew up followed the Utah through the 70s and 80s, know what I'm talking about.
Bad.
There were some dark days, and Coach Ron McBride deserves a lot of credit for bringing that back. And he grew up during that time, and when you were young at that age, back in the 80s and 90s, like, you were a BYU fan or you were weird. I'm serious. Like, everybody in Utah and in the Near Mountain West was a BYU fan because they were great.
That's really funny.
And it's like, why do you not like BYU, or why are you a fan of that team? So he loves Utah, is my point. I think you get what I'm talking about. He's a Utah man. And there's also a personality with him that's just slightly different. It's not, I don't know how to put my finger on it or explain to it here on the radio what it is, but the players who have played for him know the differences. There's an intensity about both, but the intensity is different. It feels different from both.
Yeah,
but both intensities are respected evenly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that Morgan Scalley, I think the temptation would be, I've got to carve my own path here. I've got to look, like, what can I do to kind of be my own guy? And the reality is that winning is the only thing that will be the thing that you're judged on going forward. All of the culture stuff that people talked about with Kyle Whittingham and the toughness and the no nonsense, like, those were all beloved things, but they were only like beneficial to the winning part of it, right? That was the stuff that was like, he's doing that with this attitude, right? If he wasn't winning, then it wouldn't have lasted. And then him being the tough guy attitude, people go, yeah, that didn't pay off, right? And he's just a grumpy guy who didn't win a lot. Right.
Brian Kelly's a great example.
Yes.
But your players will see through phony pretty quick. There's nothing phony about Morgan Scalley, and there's a humility about Morgan Scalley. And so many of these coaches are driven by ego. And I think that there is a humility about him where he's willing to admit, and he did. I mean, what happened, like, it's recently, like the Kansas State game, he took full responsibility for that. Here, do you want to know the truth? It wasn't his fault.
His guys knew what to do. His
players were blowing it.
Yeah.
And they were not communicating very well. And were out of sorts and couldn't get it figured out. But he took responsibility for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Some coaches might blast their players publicly. Some coaches may handle it differently. He didn't. I also think it's interesting. You look at the way that college football is today, and I think Kyle Whittingham gets it. He understood adapt or die, and he did as much as he could, as much as he probably didn't want to, embrace the new era of NIL and all these other things that we're dealing with right now. And now you, on top of all that, you now have private equity getting involved at the University of Utah. I think a transition it's a perfect time for a transition because there's something new happening at Utah. And I think it's a good time for Morgan to jump in with his ideas and his approach and his fresh energy to take on the new challenge that's taking place right now, because whether you like it or not, there's something new happening at University of Utah in that football program with that private equity deal. Mm-hmm. And what is going to be required to move this program forward with the challenges that it has. They don't have the billionaire that Texas Tech has. They don't have the billionaires that BYU has. And they're trying to keep up with them and compete with them and at the same time maintain their culture. Whoa. Think about that for a second. Utah has to move their program forward in this new era. But the one thing that makes them stand out and makes the program great is the culture that has been established there. The family, the things that they talk about, the things that they do, those things that have set that program apart and made it great in a time when you didn't have NIL and these other things. You want to carry a lot of that forward, but you also have to acknowledge that times are different, and you got to play the game. So I think that the transition is a perfect time because I think that Morgan, not that Kyle couldn't or didn't want to or wouldn't, but I think Morgan will have the energy and the insight on how to deal with this moving forward with the amount of recruiting and the boots on the ground recruiting he's been involved with and the things he's been dealing with on the coaching side of things as an assistant coach, as a coordinator, to be able to move this program forward in this new era that is Utah football in private equity.
Are you surprised that everything has just been through statements? You know what I mean? Like
that there's no press conference? No, I didn't expect Kyle to go out any differently.
I mean, he said
I'm not surprised at all that this came down on a Friday. I'm not surprised at all that there wasn't some kind of teary news conference. That's not Kyle's way. That's not his style.
But Kyle could, and I get it because Kyle's
he was
the
at
kind
the
of guy
gymnastics meet on Friday judging. After the announcement, he was just out there chilling. Think about that.
And one of Sly's sweaters too, by the way. Did you see it?
Oh yeah, he loves the Utah Man gear. Shout out to Sly and his Utah Man gear. There you go.
Oh, he went to a Mammoth game. Look at him taking in all the sports.
I think that's Kyle Whittingham. We know Kyle. He's no frills. He doesn't want the attention. He just made a decision and he's moving on. He doesn't need to do the tearful press conference. He could have made this announcement before the season, right? A lot of coaches will make that decision before the announcement.
Yeah.
Look, in apples and oranges, not comparing. Lavelle Edwards made that decision before the season started in 2000, and I'm glad he did because it made that season special. Even though it wasn't the incredible season that everybody hoped it would be, everybody was able to love and appreciate Lavelle Edwards and what he did for that program. Kyle didn't want that, so he did it on his terms and he did it his way, as far as I know.
Yeah, and
it all checks the boxes for me because having covered his career for 20 years and had a chance to be around him a bit, that doesn't surprise me at all. That seems like his style. No nonsense. I don't want a parade. I don't want a press conference. I made a decision. I'm going to tell our team. I'm going to introduce Morgan Scalley as a new head coach, and then I'm going to go enjoy whatever's next.
So it's interesting because we talked about the Urban Meyer transition out, and that was a different time.
Yes.
And the only way, and I think one of the only people who would transition, I think even one of the only programs that would allow a transition like this is the Kyle Whittingham situation. The guy's stepping away from the program. He's, for all intents and purposes, done. And I think the retirement thing is real. I think that the not head coaching football at the collegiate level anymore is probably done. But they're doing the same. I mean, so is he going to be on the sideline then for the bowl game?
He's coaching the bowl game. Morgan takes over after the bowl game.
Okay, so
Kyle Whittingham is coaching the Las Vegas.
Right, and Urban went out, he was already taking a job, and he was on the
Took the
sideline.
Florida job, but he was also coaching.
He was on the sideline for the Fiesta Bowl. So it's interesting to watch.
They did everything they had done all season long for that game because they wanted to finish together. And you're right. That was rare. Obviously, we've seen the way the Ole Miss LSU situation played out. Apples and oranges again because Lane Kiffin had not been at Ole Miss for 21 years. But that ended ugly.
Yep.
This didn't end ugly, which is good because it's always hard. Transitions are hard. Change is hard. Even when you plan it, even when you know it's the right thing to do, even when it's time, change is hard. And Utah's got to go through this transition right now. But I will give Utah credit and everybody involved credit for creating a situation that's allowing for as smooth of a transition as possible, that's going to give this program a chance to continue doing what it has been doing. Because if you did it differently, it could be a disaster for Utah football. Because there's a fragility there right now with the way things are in the current landscape of college football. That if you do something wrong or you do it sloppy or you do it messy, it can go terribly sideways for you. And we live in an era right now where what happens if you do something wrong? I mean, what are the consequences?
Yeah.
I don't think we know yet because of the new world that we live in here. But do you want to be the next Nebraska? What's Nebraska right now? Do you respect Nebraska football? That's a blue blood. That's one of the great programs of all time, the winningest programs of all time. Won multiple national championships, Heisman Trophy winners, etc.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, shout out to a new Outland Trophy winner, Spencer Fano, the first Outland Trophy winner.
Awesome.
For Utah football.
And he was a first-team All-American. John Henry Daly was second-team All-American, AP All-American.
Right.
I mean, I was so glad to see that his year that ended the way it did, he was able to still get that honor. I thought it was super cool. I was actually shocked that he was second team. I thought, okay, Spencer Fano, slam dunk,
Of course.
But I thought maybe Caleb Lomu might be a second or third team AP guy. John Henry Daly, second team defense. You talk about, okay, by the way, they take out of the first and second teams, you have 4 edge rushers in college football that got honored with first team 2 of them, second team 2 of them.
He led the nation in sacks for most of the season. And while the injury was terrible and it's rough and we don't know when he's going to be back, he only missed a game and a half.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was an awesome to cap off that whole thing, to get the Outland Trophy going to Utah. Like, think about all the amazing defensive linemen who have been at that place and offensive linemen who've been at that
was
place.
Not an Outland finalist.
Right?
Was he an Outland finalist? I don't know.
Might have been a finalist, but I mean,
never won it.
Right. So you think about all that. You think about all that strong lineman play at the University of Utah for years, and to have Spencer Fano honored with that is pretty awesome. All right, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back. When we return, Andy Phillips is going to join us on the program. And he's going to give us some thoughts as Kyle Whittingham steps down. He, of course, played for Kyle Whittingham for all 4 years that he was up there, and he's had conversations with him. This is one of the guys that knows Kyle Whittingham very, very well from a coaching perspective. So we'll have Andy join us next. We have much more to go. Stay with us. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Appreciate you being with us on the program. You can always dial it up, KSLSports.com. You could also, of course, listen to us the traditional ways on your radio at 97.5, 1280 AM, and then on 102.7 HD2 as well. And then anywhere you get your fine podcasts. Joining us on the program right now, we were talking about Kyle Whittingham and the transition. And over the weekend, the official statement made. And I think I was out playing golf with my son when I go, oh, they made it official today. I thought maybe they'd wait till today. We might hear something. In true Morgan Scalley and Kyle Whittingham form, we get a statement on Friday. He rides off into the sunset. He goes to a hockey game, goes to a gymnastics meet. He's already on the I got to go hang out with my wife deal on the weekends, just like the rest of us. So there you go. Joining us on the program, he played for Kyle Whittingham for 4 years. Andy Phillips, one of our favorites, former kicker for the University of Utah. What's up, Andy? How are you, man?
You guys, I'm so stoked to be on the show with you and excited to talk about Coach Whitt, Coach Scalley. Also, two of my favorite people besides just you two. So I appreciate you having me on.
Right.
Listen, you got to do some of that buttering up with Coach. But at the end, if you're not making kicks, he would have pushed you out of the program, right?
Oh, 100%. Well, I wouldn't say he would have pushed me out of the program, but he has a way of weeding out those that that don't really adapt to the culture that he needs at Utah.
Well, Andy, I'll say this. Most specialists at other schools rarely hear from the coach unless they do something really stupid. That was not the case at Utah. Kyle Whittingham was very involved with the specialists, spent a lot of time with you guys, kickers, punters, long snappers. What was that like to have a head coach that was so invested in special teams and such a special teams expert?
It was awesome. I mean, Tom and I both came into the program green as can be, not knowing a lot about the sport of football. And having a coach that personally took over the specialists and would watch film with us every day and would meet with us every day was huge and a huge part of our success. And he was so involved in every aspect. I mean, a lot of times special teams is overlooked, or it's just, hey, yeah, you guys have your own coaches and you kind of just show up, do your own thing, and then during the summer or the off season go work with that guy. But coach wanted to know every little bit about the kicking technique and what was successful, what wasn't. I mean, not that he hadn't seen it before. You look at Louis Sakota before our generation, and he had coached a lot of great successful specialists. But that's what's unique about Coach Whitt is he likes to be competent in everything that he does and everything that he coaches. And so he took the time to make sure that, A, we knew what we were doing, but also that he knew how to help us adjust if for some reason we were off. And even broader than that, he had the wherewithal to say, look, you guys know when you mishit a ball, you know when you've messed up. And so I'm going to be a buffer between you and your own head and the rest of the team so that you can regain some direction internally and fix things up.
That's kind of interesting because I think people would think it'd be the opposite, that you miss a kick and he'd come right over and be the first guy to get in your head about it in the wrong direction. But to have that kind of influence, aside from all that, how accessible was Coach, not just because you got to watch film and things like that, but when you dipped in with him about other things or when you chatted with him about stuff, what kind of a personal relationship did you have with Coach? Because I feel like, everybody's different. All the players are different, but he's a guy that, seems like he's so closed and he looks so, everybody knows the hardcore, Harley riding Kyle Whittingham. But, a lot of people have this lifelong friendship that they've created with their head coach too.
Yeah, and I wouldn't just say it's with Coach. I'd say with Jamie, his wife, as well. I mean, she was incredible in welcoming my wife, Megan, who, I was a little older when I walked on, and we had our first son there in 2014. And so just, wrapping both of them, wrapping their arms around us, not as a student athlete, but as, friends and them as mentors to us to navigate what was me going through a master's program, having my first son, and then my wife, having to handle me being gone all the time, whether it was, 9 to 2 football or 6 to 10 class. Jamie and Kyle did an incredible job of just wrapping their arms around us. And so having a personal connection with Coach outside of football was honestly something that was hard to navigate. And I think it was hard to navigate for Coach. I mean, put yourself in his shoes. He has to handle, 18 to, I was 23-year-olds who are from different cultures, different backgrounds, different set of values. And so I think he initially would keep players a little bit at arm's length because he wanted to still be able to be coach and discipline as needed, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Tom and I did a pretty good job of breaking that, and we would get him out on the golf course, or I'd get a lap or two with him on the slopes at Snowbird, and then we would have conversations about other things that had nothing to do with football, and get to know each other and spend time together like that. And then of course he'd have an annual barbecue at his house where Jamie and Coach would host us and make a million wings and all kinds of things. And it was just a lot of fun. And I'm grateful for him. He's been a great mentor of mine, not just through football, which was obviously, a huge success in my own personal life. But then I attribute a lot of what I've been through since football to him and the lessons I learned through Utah football and the culture that he created there.
That's one I wanted to go a little deeper with you on that, because I've had moments with him where I've been able to witness how he works and how he operates, and I'm fascinated with his attention to detail and how structured his schedule is, and then also some of the just the wisdom that he has and all the experiences he had. You had a chance to have an even closer relationship with him. What are some of those things that you witnessed or you were around that either rubbed off on you or you learned from that you've been able to apply in your life after football?
I think number one is just consistency, showing up, being, trying to be as consistent as you can be in your physical fitness, in your mental or psychological fitness, and then in your spiritual fitness. I mean, those are kind of the three pillars that Coach would preach that are really important to have balance and to know your why. What is it that makes you tick and makes you go and makes you wake up every day, and finding purpose in everything that you do is super important. And the other thing I attribute a lot, I like to think of myself as a very efficient person. My wife might disagree and say that I overschedule and overdo and try to overachieve. But knowing that you have limited time in football, you have 20 to 25 periods where you have to get X, Y, and Z done. You have an hour in the weight room. You have this allotted time, for your classroom studies and whatnot. Like just learning how to be super efficient. That was something I learned from Coach, and he practices what he preaches. I think that's a trait that both Coach Whitt and Coach Scalley have. They come up to you, and if they know what they're talking about because they've watched the film, they've put in way more work than you could ever have dreamed of putting in. But they've lived it, and they continue to live it every single day. And so there's no like, oh yeah, Coach, you're sitting up there in your room just collecting checks and taking interviews. It's like, no, Coach is in the weight room. Coach was there at 6 a.m. when we were doing all of our cardio, all of our runs. Coach is there long after we leave. And so just having that, credibility, reliability, over preparing, those are just kind of things that are popping into my head of some of the traits and the qualities that Coach has that I try and put into my own life every day.
Andy Phillips, leading all-time scorer, by the way, in Utah history. I knew that was the case, but I actually just looked at the number, Andy. It's kind of by a lot. I don't think that one's getting touched. Your kids are probably going to be able to look that thing up, and your grandkids for a long, long time. I think it's by like 70% over Louis Scotta. Like it's
wow.
Like it's that much more, but not that you didn't already know that and probably look it up every day. Just check it out on the screen there. No, but now let's talk a little bit about what Morgan Scalley brings. What type of I wanted to know I think people just think, I said at the beginning of the show, I feel they might think that there is a one-to-one, like, oh, they got like Kyle Whittingham Jr. Like he knows what Kyle Whittingham did. He saw him do it all, and he's just going to do that too. And it's not the same. And so what are the differences between those two guys? And what do you think Morgan Scalley will do differently or is different just as a person?
Yeah, great question. I mean, one in purpose, no doubt, but two totally different personalities. Coach Whitt's quieter and definitely a little more reserved, doesn't really show his cards, and Coach Scalley wears a little bit more emotion on his sleeve and is not afraid to joke around with you and, be like, I go to this blackout, our blackout game, and there he is in a white shirt, and I can give him a bunch of crap for being in a white shirt at a blackout game, and he can turn around and give me all kinds of crap as well. And so it's just he brings a lot of energy, a lot of just a totally different perspective than Coach Whitt. And so a lot of people are, at least over the last weekend since the announcement, are like, you're going to get a lot of the same with Scalley. And I don't necessarily think that's true. And I think it's going to be a great change at Utah in leadership in the sense that there's quote unquote new blood and new energy and new leadership. And I know that Coach Scalley's been preparing for this for decades and will take all of the good that he's learned from Coach Whitt and the coaches that he's worked with, and then will put his own flavor on the program. And so I'm really excited to see what that's going to turn into.
Andy Phillips, former kicker, of course, at the University of Utah, all 4 years under Kyle Whittingham, and knowing that program very, very well. Andy, we always appreciate you coming on, man, and appreciate the energy, and thanks for hanging out with us, man. We'll talk to you again. Yeah,
appreciate you guys too. Hey, let me just leave you with this thought, okay? I had so many people ask me over the last couple of weeks, is this coach's last year? Is he done? Was that his last home game? My biggest tell from that game was Coach never swags out. He's always in just a plain shirt, or it says Utah on the front or whatever. When he came out with that Utah Man in my shirt, wow. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is his last home game.
That's the tell. Oh, his outfit's different.
So. Hey, I appreciate you guys. I look forward to the next one.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks,
appreciate
Andy.
it, man.
Appreciate you.
I love how that, like, of the people who know him well as former players, and he goes, he's got a different shirt on. That's funny, though.
It'd be like Belichick not wearing a cutoff hoodie for a game and coming out with
a suit on,
a shirt and tie on or something.
But maybe that was the statement too. Utah man, am I right? Out of here. He's like, this is me for life, man.
They look good in pictures.
Yeah.
Well done, Sly.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. We've got ourselves we got some weekend warriors, people who won the weekend here for us. Stay with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Monday. Hope your weekend was good. We've got our weekend warriors here before we get to it. Win big this Wednesday, every Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone with a Win Ticket Wednesday. Youngblood Idols, the World Tour coming to UCCU Center in Orem on May 13th of next year. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com, or you can win them all day on Wednesday, this Wednesday. For your chance to win, just take a listen all day long. Only have time for one of these, JJ. Fernando Mendoza wins the Heisman Trophy, first one in Indiana history. The accolades just keep coming for Hoosier football, which is wild to think of, considering that it has not been – I mean, I can't think of a more inept program of the history of me watching college football than Indiana football. And Fernando Mendoza, I thought his speech, by the way, was awesome on Saturday. Here's what he said.
This is an important one. I want every kid out there who feels overlooked, underestimated to know – I was you. I was that kid too. I was in your shoes. The truth is, you don't need the most stars, hype, or rankings. You just need discipline, heart, and people who believe in you. And you need to believe in your own abilities. I hope this moment shows you that chasing your dreams are worth it, no matter how big or impossible they seem. God bless. Go Hoosiers. Thank you guys all.
The whole thing was good. I thought that last comment that he made was phenomenal, because just like, hey, all these other guys, I think that at some point in their life they realized they were the best athlete on the field all the time, every time they stepped on the field. I really don't think that was the case with Fernando Mendoza. I bet he was pretty darn good, but you don't get offers just to Yale and then end up committing to powerhouse Cal, although that's a little bit QBU going on at Cal, right?
I've had some good ones over the years.
And so I look at it and I go, man, that was awesome for him. We'll get into your ballot a little bit later, but was he your number one?
Yes.
Okay. Just wondering. You didn't put Jacob Rodriguez number 1.
I did not.
Okay. Some did. Some did. We'll come right back when we return. Let's talk some hockey. Hey, this is a fun time to be able to talk about hockey right now. Yesterday was wild. This Mammoth team, down 3-0, comes back and wins in Pittsburgh. They've won 2 in a row now. They've got the week out east. We'll see what they can do against some of these big names in hockey coming up this week, and we'll chat with Cole Bagley next right here on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. More to go. Stay with us.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Monday to you. Thanks for being with us on JJ and Alex. Big weekend for the Utah Mammoth. Couple big wins. Boy, they needed both of them, too. And you saw so many guys getting involved. You see a lot of dudes flying around the ice. And yesterday when they were down 3-0 against Pittsburgh, it was tempting to throw in the towel there, at least from the viewer standpoint.
Again, right?
You get into the third period and you're down 3-0. You go, maybe they'll get 1 or 2 back. They got 2 back in 18 seconds, and then you go, oh, now it's on. And to see some of these guys stepping up in these moments to come back from a 3-0 deficit, and then to get it evened up at 4, and then to win in overtime on that awesome shot by Dylan Gunther, man. It was just, the whole thing was cool. And for once, it was them scoring early in overtime versus the alternative, which they've seen, which is a team comes back, has all the momentum. And I thought that 4th goal by Pittsburgh, maybe they would have woken up a little bit. And, man, it's a couple good wins in a row over the weekend for the Mammoth. And joining us on the program, Cole Bagley on the show here with us. Let's kick off the show as we always do with the cut.
It's time to talk hockey with the Utah Mammoth and NHL insider on KSLSports.com, Cole Bagley on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Yeah, the cut top of the hour, of course, always brought to you by the good folks at the Doug Smith brand of dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Nobody knows cars like Doug. And Cole Bagley joins us on behalf of our great sponsors, the folks at Hercules First Federal Credit Union. Growing stronger together. Hey, Cole, what's going on, man? That was a fun weekend of hockey if you're a Mammoth fan.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. I don't know that the overall product was amazing, but the fact that they picked up 2 wins and that they were able to, put together an incredible comeback effort last night in Pittsburgh, they've got 4 points and they're keeping their head above water. So it was a good weekend for the Mammoth.
A 3-0 deficit in the third period. For people that are unfamiliar with hockey, how difficult is it to overcome that? What's a comp in another sport?
Yeah, a comp in another sport is probably like 2 touchdowns, maybe 3 touchdowns, but it's not like they were down by 7.
Right.
3 goals obviously is not insurmountable, and the message from the coaching staff going into that third period was, let's get on the board. Let's get a quick one on the board. They've been leaving, a lot of room in front of the net open. There's a lot of loose change, as Andre Tourney put it, and they scored exactly the way that the coaching staff had outlined them to do so, got on the board really fast, and then, it snowballed. The biggest thing for Utah yesterday was this had happened to the Penguins less than 24 hours previous.
Oh.
They blew a 5-1 lead to the San Jose Sharks in the third period just the day before. And it had happened 2 times. The 2 previous games, they had blown third period leads. So, this last week for the Penguins has been brutal, and Utah knew that, hey, if we can get on the board, they're going to start second-guessing themselves. That maybe a little bit of PTSD from the last few games is going to start to seep into their minds, and that's exactly what happened. So, kudos to the Mammoth staff and the players for, taking advantage of the situation and, fighting through adversity.
One thing, Cole, you brought that up, is that's actually that's one of those things that at some point it becomes a little bit habitual. And I think Mammoth fans saw some kind of bad traits in some of these games where they were playing tough sometimes and not playing very tough other times. And you said overall the product hasn't been great. What do you think the thing is that's lacking right now with this team? We've talked about effort before. Do you think that the effort has kind of returned and it's just maybe some of the strategy and a little bit of the converting of the power play still is a problem, but it seems like they've gotten a little bit better over the last few games. But what is it that you see that overall needs to still improve with this team?
I think it's still a maturity issue. With talking with some of the guys and people around the league, I still think the fact that a lot of Utah's best players are fairly young, and they're still figuring things out in terms of consistency. And it obviously doesn't help when a guy like Logan Cooley goes down, who's such a big part of their offense, a big part of their power play. But things are trending better, right? Like they've scored, I think 4 or 5 power play goals over the last 2 weeks or so, and so they're starting to figure things out. The puck is kind of starting to bounce their way, and I think most importantly, there's certain players that are starting, really starting to step up, and arguably the player that stepped up the most is Dylan Guenther. He's scored, I think, 4 or 5 goals in the last 3 or 4 games. He leads the NHL in game-winning goals going back to last season. I think he's tied with Leon Draisaitl. Anytime you're tied with a player like that, you're doing something right, and you're the elite of the elite. So, yeah, I mean, there's still issues, but there's always going to be issues. And, if you're a Mammoth fan that's frustrated, just remember you could be a Pittsburgh Penguins fan right now. They just lost 4 straight games after leading in the third period. So it can always be worse.
That's brutal. Well, you mentioned Dylan Guenther, and I want to go a little deeper on him because you mentioned how, he's obviously a great talent, and you expect great talent to just perform and make things happen, but he's been especially clutch. What is it about him that allows him to step up in these big moments besides just the skill and the talent?
Yeah, I asked Sean Dursey and Coach Bear about it yesterday, and they kind of narrowed it down to 2 things. First of all, Dylan believes that those types of shots are going to go in. Bear recalls when Guenther scored the golden goal for Team Canada at the World Juniors a couple years ago, and he scores the goal, and it's the game winner, it's the gold medal winner, and his teammates are jumping on him against the boards, and Dylan's just it's business, it's another day at the office for me. And so I think and that is what separates some of the best, is they expect those types of things to happen. But the other thing too, and this, Dursey kind of highlighted this, is that he is so hungry to continue to get better. Dursey pointed out that Guenther's always working on his shot, whether it's in practice or in games. If he misses even the smallest window, he's frustrated with himself, and he wants to continue to get better. And so I think when you combine those things, when you combine confidence and belief, as well as just a workaholic mindset, a workhorse mindset, it's going to result in elite play, and that's what we're seeing right now from Dylan Guenther.
Cole, as the rest of the schedule looms here for this team just in the short term before the end of the year, obviously the Logan Cooley news is tough, and we were trying to do the math on it, and I was like, you know what, you're probably not going to see this guy till post-Olympics if that's the time frame. And if that's the case, you just have to resign yourself to getting it done with what you have. One of your young superstars not being a part of it. Injuries are a part of the game. You'll hear that. You'll hear Bear tell us that all the time. But what does this team have to do walking up to the new year here to kind of get them ready for the next half of the season, and as they start to get toward that Olympic break?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just keeping their heads above water. I think trying to win 50% of the games right now, especially because to finish out the calendar year, they're playing some of the best teams in the NHL in Boston and Detroit and New Jersey, and they have to play Colorado, who I think has only lost twice in regulation. But then you get into January and the schedule starts to soften up a little bit. You're going to see Columbus, you're going to see Toronto, you're going to see Seattle again, and Nashville, and some teams that just aren't playing overly well, Ottawa. And so if they can get to, if they can get through these next 4 or 5 weeks, and make sure that they, like I said, they just need to keep their heads above water. They just need to stay relevant and remain within about 2 or 3 points of the playoff, of those wild card spots. Because let's be honest, Utah is not going to claim one of the top 3 spots in the division with how well, Colorado and Dallas and Minnesota are playing, especially now that Minnesota has acquired Quinn Hughes from Vancouver. This division is just unforgiving, but if Utah can, just continue to fight, like you said, work with what they have and remain within a couple points of those 2 wild card spots, Cooley should be back after the Olympic break. You know, they set a minimum of 8 weeks. That puts him right at when the NHL takes their 3-week break. So he's going to have about 11 total weeks, to nurse his injury and to come back. And if they can just stay relevant, they can get him back. And we'll see what happens as they approach the trade deadline. Utah, could still put themselves in a position to really push for a playoff spot down the stretch.
You're out on the road with Mammoth right now. You had a chance to go to Pittsburgh. You're going to head to Boston now. But what's the experience like in Pittsburgh? There's a lot of history there, especially with all the cups they've won and the incredible players they've had. I think you've mentioned you've grown up a Penguins fan. What was the experience like there in Pittsburgh for fans who haven't had a chance?
Yeah, Pittsburgh is an underrated city, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm biased. I grew up a Penguins fan, but I had never been to Pittsburgh until last year. And, I came out here last year, obviously was there last night. And, Pittsburgh's just a really cool town. It has kind of like a European feel to it. There's a lot of really cool things to do out there. There's cool architecture. Obviously, you have the 3 rivers and the bridges. There's some really cool museums that are out there as well. But the arena itself, what's refreshing and what's really cool about, I think, Pittsburgh fans in general, not just Penguins but Steelers and Pirates, is they love their teams. Arguably, to an extreme. But when I jumped on the plane to go out to Pittsburgh from Salt Lake, I think I counted like 15 or 16 people who were wearing some sort of Steelers or Pirates or Penguins gear. Like that's just how the city of Pittsburgh is. They're ride or die. And that's what makes the arena just a really cool experience. And they're very kind. They're very welcoming. I had some friends and family that, have come out to the games the last 2 years, and the Penguins fans have been just so gracious to them, welcoming them, congratulating them when the Mammoth scored and congratulating them, after the wins and stuff like that. So, in my opinion, Pittsburgh is definitely a must for any fans who are considering, hitting the road and traveling. Pittsburgh is an underrated city with a lot of cool things to do. And, it's outside of, kind of those original 6 teams. I'd say that Pittsburgh has a really special in-arena experience.
Cole, as you kind of hit the road here, what are these teams like the rest of this week here as the Mammoth face all these Eastern teams, some early games that they're going to have to figure out? But always going out east, it's a tough road trip, but it feels like a little different on the NHL level. It seems like the guys kind of get up for all of these games, regardless of if they're, at Boston Garden or whatever it might be. So what does the next handful of games here look like for this Mammoth team, especially this week as they're out east?
Yeah, it's a tough road trip. Picking up 2 points last night against Pittsburgh was a big deal. Yeah, I mean, any road trip in the NHL, you're just looking to go 500. And so if Utah can steal another one of these 2 or even just get a point, that's mission accomplished. Detroit is playing really good hockey right now. They're second in the Atlantic. Boston as well. They're in the second wild card position. So, these are Eastern Conference playoff teams that Utah is going to be facing. And then, of course, they do come home and they'll play New Jersey and Winnipeg before one more game before Christmas in Colorado. But, yeah, it's, for Utah, they just need to continue to do what they've done over the last 2 games, really over the last 3 games that's helped them find success is, playing with more urgency, playing with more confidence, more energy, getting bodies to the net. I think that's been the biggest difference for Utah over this last week. They kind of changed, not necessarily their play style, but they changed their approach a little bit beginning against Florida on Wednesday last week. And, they gave the Panthers a run for their money, and it was because they were just way more assertive in the offensive zone. They were harder on the forecheck. They were putting bodies in front of the net. They were screening the goaltender. They were getting him to move back and forth. And that's what they did against Seattle, and that's what they were able to do last night against Pittsburgh in the comeback. And so, playing more of that gritty style hockey will serve them well. And like I said, if they can get another point or 2 over these next 2 games, that would be really big for the Mammoth.
Cole Bagley, He's covering this Utah Mammoth team. He's out on the road and taking in all these. It's rough. It's rough work. I know it's right before the holidays. Man.
Oh, it's painful.
Hey, just going out to some of these historic venues and watching some hockey and covering this team. Not that it's a dream of yours or anything. So have fun out there. And we're going to be watching all these games. High interest, of course, to see how this team can recover some of those points or at least try to crawl back into that Wild, Stars, and Avalanche. Because, look, being down with the Blackhawks, Jets, Blues, and Preds right now, that's not a good place to be. I know they're the top of those teams, but you got to get these wins, and they've had more games than anybody too. So
got to stay above that black line.
We're looking forward to it, man. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing too. I never thought I would leave Utah in December and go to 2 or 3 places colder than Utah.
Yep.
I mean, I've got family members golfing back in Utah, and it's 9 degrees in Boston right now. So enjoy that warm weather.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Thank you, Cole Bagley. There you go. Cole, he's our Mammoth insider for KSLSports.com. Yeah, somebody showed. Did you see that? I mean, they're in Cleveland, so it's already hard to watch a game anyway. But they showed one of the Cleveland fans. Did you see him in the crowd? They opened up an RC Cola, first of all. Hilarious.
Oh, yeah. And
so they bust out an RC Cola, and it immediately
the Browns-Bears game?
Yes, and it immediately froze.
Yeah.
And they start pouring it just as slush.
That's
into
wild.
the cup, and you go, well, that's one version of being able to play a football game and that stuff.
Our winters here aren't so bad
compared to that. And by the way, I was one of those Utahns golfing this weekend.
Good for you.
I mean,
it's beautiful right now. We get temperatures in the 50s in December.
It was sunny. I don't know what to tell you.
Fantastic.
I know. So
he mentioned the Columbus Blue Jackets. First time I think the Columbus Blue Jackets have ever been mentioned on JJ and Alex. Is there a more irrelevant pro sports franchise in North America than the Columbus Blue Jackets?
Are they bad too? On top of it,
can you name one player?
Oh no.
Now or ever that has played for that team?
No, the thing that they have going for them is they have that cool.
I'm sure you could.
They have that cool Confederate cannon that they shoot off when they score goals. It's pretty cool.
It's a Confederate cannon?
I mean, sorry, Union cannon.
Right.
Those soldiers are up there, and they got the blue jackets on. Obviously they're blue jackets, so they're not gray jackets. You can't roll into town wearing gray and doing a Civil War reenactment. No. Yeah, you got to be wearing the blue. But yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about the Blue Jackets. Couldn't tell you anything about them. But you know what? They're probably saying the same thing about Utah, right?
Well, I mean,
are they bad? Are they bad too?
The Mammoth have been around for 2 years. The Columbus Blue Jackets have been around for 2 decades, and I can't tell you what they've accomplished.
Well, they're dead last right now in the East, so there's that.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll come back. We got to get out to a break here. Before we do, just want to remind you that when we come back, we're going to be doing our locals in the NFL segment. By the way, massive weekend for the locals in the NFL, and tons to get to. That's always fun to do. So JJ's going to give us the update on that, plus some of the other things that happen in the NFL. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, you know what that music means? Of course, it's our NFL Blitz on the program. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome back to the program. Hey, every week you can nominate a youth sports volunteer that does an amazing job. They don't have to be coaches. They don't even have to be, we prefer like the volunteers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or how about you know what we haven't had yet is a referee.
I would love to see a referee.
I would love to see a ref get nominated because they are putting up with it, man.
Yep.
So if you have somebody, a team mom, an assistant coach, somebody in the neighborhood of yours that's doing an awesome job as a youth sports volunteer, nominate them for the Hercules Hero of the Week award. Just go to KSLSports.com/contest. Every Thursday afternoon, we read off a winner, and they get a prize courtesy of the folks at Hercules Credit Union and also Beehive Meals, both of which are sponsors of this great program. Okay. JJ, locals in the NFL. Man, it just seems like every week we're naming this off. Every week we're finding moments where players are doing an awesome job that have some sort of a connection to the state of Utah. And here we are again, maybe the best week of all year. I don't know. It was a pretty darn good one, man.
Well, as far as getting into the end zone, that can't be topped. Last week was incredible. I think we had 7 locals in the NFL that got in the end zone one way or another, either throwing a ball, running a ball, or catching a ball. But this week was interesting because there was a lot of great defensive play. You remember Kyle Van Noy, if you watched the game, the Ravens playing the Bengals. The Bengals were driving down to the goal line, trying to forge a comeback. Down 17-0 at that point. A touchdown in that moment would have got him back in the game
a little bit, yeah.
Well, Joe Burrow throws a pass, and guess who intercepts it? It's just sitting there in the zone.
KVN, man.
Is Kyle Van Noy, KVN. And instead of just running it out or taking a knee, he had the wherewithal to hand the ball off to one of the safeties that was back there with him, Alohi Gilman, who, by the way,
How about that Utah to Utah connection, man?
He spent a year at Orem High School. He's from Kahuku. His younger brother played at Utah. But he took the ball and took it for a pick six, 84 yards. And
is it a pick six? Somebody else picked. He just sixed, right?
Well, it was picked, and it was sixed. It's a pick six.
The INT goes to KVN.
Yep.
The random defensive touchdown goes to Gilman.
Pretty cool.
Awesome.
They shared the touchdown, I guess you could say. It was great teamwork. It was a heads-up play by KVN.
It was
incredible football IQ to make that play. He didn't have at this point in his career.
Oh, the wheels aren't there. Wheels aren't there.
He's not going to be able to make it 84 yards, but Gilman certainly can and did. And so that was one of the best plays of the week in all of the NFL. So it was awesome to see Kyle Van Noy play a role in that.
That takes something. First of all, one of the crazy things about Kyle Van Noy was that his career was the closing speed. I mean, he was all over the field. And same thing in the beginning part of his NFL career. And you're right, he's a very specific dude now. He's one of the most savvy veteran linebackers in the game.
Really smart player.
Second go around at the Ravens, where he's there. They know him. He knows what's going on. And the guy who can go, there's no way that I could take this to the house and just hand it off to his. That's a guy who's
a lot of other players probably would have had so much pride to think they could.
Yes.
He made the smart, unselfish, team thinking play, and it was one of the best of the weekend.
How about did Puka have a pretty decent weekend?
Oh my gosh, Puka. Okay, like Puka is
every week, man.
Top 3 receivers in the NFL. Can you name 2 receivers that are better? ? Can you? Maybe you just by numbers you say Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is Justin Jefferson better than Puka right now? Amon-Ra St. Brown. Based on stats,
these are all. By the way, these are all first team All Pro guys.
These are the best of the best,
yeah.
And Puka can make a case that he is the best receiver in the National Football League. When you combine his blocking ability, his route running,
how hard it is to take him down,
he plays like a tight end, but he's a deep threat. It's just crazy to see his progression and how getting to the league seems to have unlocked something with him. Now, we knew in high school he was a freak. He's the best, in my opinion. He might be the best overall high school football player the state's ever seen. You can certainly make that case. And then he gets to BYU after a year at Washington and has some great moments, but the injuries always prevented him from becoming an All-American.
You remember?
Or a legendary status at BYU. He is now. I think what he's doing in the NFL is enhancing our view of what he was in college.
JJ, you remember, I think you were – so I was here the night that it happened. For some reason, I was doing some other work, and then I was like, oh, Puka's going to make his announcement on the air tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that whole deal?
Happened on KSL.
And I was standing off to the side just kind of watching.
Yeah.
And, there's part of me that he throws up the Washington colors. I was like, go Dogs,
Yeah.
Mom was not happy. You remember how mad his mom was?
She was very upset. He broke her heart that night, but
got her wish.
Eventually, her 2 sons ended up playing together at BYU.
Yeah, it's worked out. It's
all good now. Puka's mother is incredible, and she's awesome.
I'm waiting
on through a lot, and to have these boys be successful is just a tribute
tremendous
to her.
It's crazy. First of all, Jackson Dart, he had a really nice game, I thought. Decent-ish game.
But he plays for the Giants.
That's the Giants. They come up short against the Commanders. It's just going to be the rest like that for the rest of the year. I just hope he stays healthy and he keeps. Got to keep logging those hours, man.
63 yards rushing on Sunday.
Don't need it.
He's playing with fire, man. But that's what Jackson does. This is the new quarterback. This is the dual threat. The guy, and we're seeing it in the NFL, a lot of these guys, that grew up playing in spread offenses. This is what they do. So now you're seeing more of it in the NFL, and Jackson Dart's not going to reinvent himself. He's not going to go pro style. He runs spread. He's great in the RPO. Let him cook, but there is risk, and he certainly toes that line.
Was that sliding catch that was wild in the back of the end zone, was that the Hawes kid?
No.
It wasn't?
No.
I thought maybe it was.
He did have a catch for 9 yards, though.
So
Dalton Kincaid had 3 catches, I believe.
Yeah,
so.
man, that was about as good of a game that we've seen all season long. That comeback by the Bills.
Patriots game was fun.
And by the way, the Bills may have. I mean, that I'm not going to say it saved their season, but it kept
them alive.
It turned a corner for them too. I think in an attitude, and it's kind of crazy.
Let me say this as a Broncos fan. Now that the Chiefs are done, do you know what team I feel is the biggest threat?
You think it's the Bills?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
That team has experience. They've been knocking on the door. They've played in big games. It feels like they've always been ready for a breakthrough, but the Chiefs just in the way. Well, the Chiefs aren't in the way anymore.
You don't think the Jaguars are like legit right now? Or?
I do. And you know what else? The Texans are legit too.
Yeah, now that's a scary team.
That defense is tough, and they figured some things out on offense just enough. How they're hot. They've won like 5 in a row. They're right in the mix.
But see, here's the thing, though, too, is you think about, I think the Chargers are really good. What makes the Chargers so good is their defense is so freaking good.
Same thing, right?
But that's what I worry about with the Bills.
What do all these teams in the AFC have in common?
Well, not the Bills, though. I don't think the Bills have a phenomenal defense.
It's
they're
not
the
what
ones
it has been.
I think they're the ones who give up 30 a game and still
Can they
and
get
score
away
40.
with that when it really matters?
The Lions have been trying to pull it off, and they can't.
Why did the Ravens fall off this year?
Yeah, it's that
defense
legendary defense is not it. Yeah.
So all these young defenses, the Jags defense, Devin Lloyd featured on that. They're great. The Texans are great. The Broncos are great. The Chargers are great. Who are the weak links? You're right. Whoever wins the AFC North is not going to have a great defense. The Steelers have guys that can play, but they're older. You're right. The defenses are ruling in the but you know why the Patriots lost that game yesterday? Their defense let them down. They couldn't get stops.
Mm-hmm. Hey, do we owe an apology to Philip Rivers? Old man Rivers?
No, I didn't. I expect him to do exactly what he did yesterday.
Oh, settle down. On Friday, we were making all the old guy jokes.
He threw a touchdown pass. Yeah, of course. He's making the jokes. I didn't expect him to go out there and suck. He didn't suck.
I think it's funny.
He darn near won that game for him.
You forget how
he's so smart. He's such a fiery competitor.
Yeah. He was wild in his career where he would just. And his press conferences are always fun, and I think that there is zero care in the world now, which actually makes it better for him, right?
Yeah.
When they made that 60-yarder yesterday, I was like, we're going to lose. I say we, the Seahawks. And I know you were watching that. Hope you're crossing those fingers that the dadgum Colts are going to win that game, and thank heavens they were able to get the dub on that one. So, man.
Who's going to win the NFC West?
I kind of don't care. I think the Rams are a better team. Like, come on. It's crazy to watch them. It looks like it's a video game.
Right.
The Seahawks are like kind of getting by the seat of their pants. I like what Sam Darnold's doing. What he's doing is phenomenal. But what it's not is it doesn't feel like he's taking so much command of this game that I mean, Matthew Stafford is I think Matthew Stafford should win the MVP at this point. If they were to do it right now, he'd be the MVP winner for me. Drake May, don't care. Stafford is old as the hills in quarterback years, and he's
38.
he's smart. He's smart. He just goes, guess what? I know what I got here, and I'm going to get the ball to every one of these dudes.
He's still got a hose. He can
Yes, he still freaking throws the ball, and it's awesome to watch. So there's part of me that goes, oh, buddy. Seahawks are going to get into this has first round loss all over it. They're going to be in the wild card and they're going to lose that first game.
This is Sam Darnold history, right?
Yeah.
Can Sam Darnold get over the hump in the playoffs?
They'll go 12 and or no, they have 3 games left. Yeah, I bet they'll win 2 of them. They'll go 12 or no, they were 11. Yeah. I still think they'll be like 12, 13 wins, 13 and 4,
pull up their schedule real
12
quick.
and 5.
They've got they're home against the Rams, at the Panthers, who were fighting for their playoff lives, and at the 49ers.
Oof.
Yeah, it's hard.
Let's say they win even just one of those.
Go 1 and 2.
They'll be 12 wins. I don't think I think 12 is going to get them in the wild card, right?
I agree.
So They get there, and it has first-round exit written all over it. But you know what it is? Way over the expectations of what Seahawks fans had this year. Way over them. And by the way, they're going to have a guy who's going to be pushing. Because even yesterday, Sam Darnold throws 0 touchdowns, but Smith-Njigba scores, catches, still goes for 113.
Yeah.
He's on pace for that 2,000, right? Still?
Yes, he is. He's got 200 more yards than Puka Nacua, who's in the 1,300 range. Crazy, right?
Oof.
So
Crazy.
Seahawks, by the way, really, really, really want to stay where they're at. They got to keep that game lead against the 49ers and finish 5th in the NFC, because the difference between being 5th and 6th is a first-round playoff game at either Tampa Bay or Carolina, or a first-round playoff game against the Eagles.
Hey,
which would you prefer?
If Jackson Smith-Njigba breaks the record in Game 17, do you respect it? Calvin Johnson got 1968.
Well, people said the same thing about Saquon Barkley last year, and he ended up just sitting it out, right?
Yeah. But I'm just wondering.
Yeah, what's weird, right?
All the good wide receivers in Seahawks history.
A lot of NFL records. So there was, they played 14 games until the late 70s, right?
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we've got a Sucks to Be You right on the corner. People who it currently sucks to be. Lots of people, by the way, in the world of sports as it so happens. So stay with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Basking in the sports misfortune of others to help make you feel just a little bit better about yourself. As JJ and Alex present,
Yes, we got beat. We got beat badly.
It Sucks to Be You.
All right, welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Hey, guess what? Before we get to Sucks to Be You, I've got some stuff to give away. You call in right now, 801-575-ZONE, and you give us the Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealer Play of the Weekend, the Chevy Strong Play of the Weekend, as to given out by DJ and PK, which I was dropping off my boys at elementary school today, and I heard it, and I said, oh, yeah, there it is. And it was a big one. It was awesome. It has to do with a local who made an amazing play. And so all you have to do is tell us what that play was, as given out by DJ and PK. You get yourself an Amazon gift card, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-9663. People who it currently sucks to be. Now, it doesn't suck to be Diego Pavia, who finished, did he end up second?
Yes.
In the
wait.
Or was it third? I think he was second.
Was it Sayan second?
I thought Sayan finished. I don't know where Sayan finished, but I thought it was Love after that.
Let me get confirmation on that, because
you would think you would know.
I know, right? So I'm a little embarrassed. I can't remember if it was second or third. Okay, so Pavia was second. Jeremiah Love third. Yeah, Julian Sayan fourth.
Right.
And Jacob Rodriguez fifth.
So I read that Rodriguez got more first-place votes than Sayan, and I thought, well, that's a nice little feather in your cap.
Yeah.
Linebacker getting fifth in Heisman voting, not bad. But Diego Pavia, after the whole thing, now sort of mired his legacy by saying, quote unquote, F the voters.
Yeah.
And then had to apologize later because it's really dumb to say something like that. I was telling Annapolis before this, think about all the players that have been part of the Heisman voting over the years. They might think that in their head, like, man, I should have won this thing. But so many people go to this award ceremony and they're gracious about the fact that they're in New York. They get the invite, finishing second in the Heisman voting, having the amazing career that he did. That's not the last. That's kind of the last thing you want to have. So it sucks to be him this weekend for saying that kind of garbage.
Yeah, it's Diego Pavia's an incredible story. He's the first ever Heisman finalist.
Oh yeah,
from Vanderbilt,
and he finished second.
It's
Hang
incredible.
Your hat on it, man.
You're
it's
a great
awesome.
story, dude. But I think his deal is, and I kind of give him a pass here a little bit, is he's just been so overlooked for so many. He played at New Mexico Military Institute. Mm-hmm. He played at New Mexico State.
Mm-hmm. Not New Mexico. He played at the worst New Mexico school.
Right. The other New Mexico school.
Right.
This guy was so close to becoming a Heisman Trophy winner. With that background, I get it. But you and I think there's a lot of athletes that have a hard time with this. Having a chip on your shoulder gets you so far that you don't know how to turn that part of you off.
Sure. No, I get that.
And you get to a point where you've achieved enough where, okay, the act's kind of tired. Like, you have achieved greatness. Like, be confident in that. And I think he let that chip on his shoulder get the best of him this weekend in a moment where it wasn't really appropriate to do that. This is not a competition on the field. This is an awards ceremony. And the guy who won it deserved it. And what he did was disrespectful to the guy that won it.
Yeah, well, and then the class that Mendoza showed afterward was
right.
I think I don't think we would have gotten a gracious speech like that from Diego Pavia. Also sucks to be Cincinnati. Did you see Brendan Sorsby under the transfer portal?
Predictable.
Yeah. It did suck to be Chris Jones this weekend and Chiefs fans, but Chris Jones is at the post-game press conference, and he's like, "Hey, we still got fight in us yet, and we still have something to prove, and we could still crawl back into this thing." And then he goes, "Oh, we're out of the playoffs?" Okay. And then just 1,000-yard stare, and that was the end of the press conference. Chris Jones. Oh my goodness, Chris Jones didn't know they were out of the playoffs.
Oops.
And I imagine him going through the locker room going, "Heads up, guys, we got this. We're going to do this." And they're all looking at him going, "What is Chris Jones' problem, man? Why does he have to do this positivity thing right now? That's not what we want." All right. Let's take a break here. We'll come back. When we return, we have a Jazz game coming up tonight at Delta Center between the Mavericks and the Jazz. High-powered rookies, of course, in focus, but in this Jazz team who've won 9, I think the Mavericks have won 10, so these two teams battling it out tonight. We'll see how this one goes. We'll come back to that and much more next hour. Stay here, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
What time is it?
Your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball is right here on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
5 on the clock. Keontae, one-on-one on Spencer. Pulls and hits. 3-ball. Keontae George ties us at 43. John Moran, who throws a baseball outlet to Coward, going to the rim. Behind Ace Bailey, gets it and blocks it to the 5th row. Ace Bailey tracked him down and said, "Rookie, you will not."
Whoa.
7:48 to play. Jazz have lost 2 in a row. Key, step back 3, hasn't scored in the second half. He has now. He's got 30.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. It is a Jazz basketball day right here on the KSL Sports Zone, which, of course, means you're going to get all your radio coverage starting at 6 o'clock tonight. You're going to get your pregame and then tip-off against the Dallas Mavericks across the street at Delta Center. And it's, listen, gosh darn it, this team's kind of good.
Yeah,
I don't know what to think about it.
They're competitive. They're much more competitive than they were last year. There's no doubt about that.
How about a 39-point night the other night from Keontae George?
Star.
I mean, so he had 27 at the half, and I told the kids, I said, we're dipping in on the second half to see if he gets to 50, because I think that he's doing stuff in his career where he kind of turns these corners every so often, as this year especially. Yeah. This is his best year by far. And not only that, not only just from a scoring perspective, he has grown up as a pro. We're watching it happen before our eyes, and I love it. And yet at the same time, this is a 9-15 Jazz team, and I don't know if this is sustainable if you don't want to hand that draft pick away to the dadgum Thunder, who don't need it.
Don't get too good too fast, Jazz.
I don't know. I don't know what to think about it, because I like winning games, watching those games and watching big moments like that from guys like Keontae George who are growing up.
I hate this situation with the NBA.
It's weird.
I hate it.
It's really weird. Let's jump in on the program here. One of our Jazz insiders, of course, hosts the Jazz Notes podcast with Ben Anderson, and he covers, of course, the Jazz also on KSLSports.com. Chandler Holt joining us on the program. Let's jump in here with the cut and get things going officially right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, TRAJAN Wealth.com, for all your trusted local needs in retirement. It's TrajanWealth.com. Chandler, this is a weird spot to be in. I would imagine that you and Ben sort of, I don't know, maybe how do you guys approach it? I want to have like a better approach to this than, hey, stop being good. But I like when these guys are doing things that they are. And maybe you guys have a little bit more of a mature view of it and kind of the Will Hardy approach, which is hey, man, we try to win games. Where are you at with this team now that they're 9-15 and definitely not one of the worst teams in the league right now?
Yeah, it is definitely very interesting because on one side, it's good to see the jump from Keontae George and the positive signs from Ace Bagley, and you're like, okay, you can kind of see the bigger picture of what is happening with this team and where they could be in a few years. But on the other side of it, we aren't where the Jazz aren't where they want to be. It isn't a few years in the future yet, and you still have this top 8 protection sort of hanging over your head, and you're at a point right now where it's right on the edge of that going to OKC, which would probably be a worst-case scenario. But with that being said, we are a little over a quarter into the NBA season, and with a roster full of young guys, there is going to be some burnout, and of course, whether fabricated or real, there are injuries later in the season, which is something that the Jazz knew all too well last year. And with the Walker Kessler injury specifically, even though Jusuf Nurkic isn't Nikola Jokic or Bam Adebayo or anybody else, if Nurkic is out for a game and Kyle Filipowski, who isn't a real center, is your starting center, the Jazz aren't going to win a lot of games. Like, for example, tonight when they play the Dallas Mavericks, Jusuf Nurkic is out. So I'm not a betting man, but I would think the Jazz are going to lose tonight because you don't have someone to deal with the center, especially since that center is Anthony Davis.
Yeah, Keontae George was unbelievable the other night, 39 points, and it's not just he's better, he's playing like a star. What's now have you reevaluated what you think Keontae George can be as an NBA player based on what he's done so far this season?
Absolutely. First, I have always been high on Keontae George, but what I'm seeing so far this year, it is a real question if Keontae George is the best player on the Utah Jazz right now. Larry Markkinen has been awesome this year. Don't get me wrong. He's averaging 27.6 points a game. This is the all-star Lowry we saw from a couple years back. But from the playmaking to the leadership to the scoring, Keontae George has made a jump that has been so impressive on so many levels. And we talked about this today on the Jazz Notes podcast. Like, what is stopping Keontae from being an all-star, from being a 30-point-per-game scorer? Like, he has all of the tools to do that, and he's only 22 years old. He's averaging 22, 4, and 7 assists at 22 years old. I mean, I really think the sky's the limit for him.
Not just in this game tonight, just like you said. Like if you're leaning on Kyle Filipowski to to be your guy. I mean, obviously that would be kind of an interesting matchup with Anthony Davis. I mean, I'm not trying to laugh at. I'm just saying, if a coach looks at you and goes, "Get in there, Flip," and you're seeing Anthony Davis, it's a wild thing. But those are also the types of things, because Kyle this is a growing up year for him too, and I think he's made a lot of progress. What about guys that aren't Keontae George, the younger guys on this roster you're looking at? Where's their development at? On this roster, because I think we're seeing a lot of these guys grow up.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think both from some of the veterans and from some of the younger guys, you're seeing stuff that you haven't really seen a lot in previous years. I think Flip has had a good year. He hasn't gotten as much opportunity as maybe some have thought. Isaiah Collier has shown flashes off of his record-setting rookie year. And also Bryce Sensabaugh. Bryce Sensabaugh has had an up-and-down year, but he definitely has shown flashes as well. I mean, Ace Bagley, of course, like he's not someone you've necessarily seen grown. It's his first year, but he has been awesome as well. And then Nurkic. I mean, again, not to talk about veterans when you ask about young players, but him and Kevin Love and Svi Mikhailuk have really, I think they are maybe one of the biggest reasons that the Jazz are sitting at 9-15 instead of whatever they were at this time last year, maybe 4 or 5 wins. It has been a lot of positive signs, and I know that some Jazz fans want them to be losing right now to hold on to that pick, but the reason you're winning is because some of your young guys are looking really good.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. That's the growth you need to see as a franchise tries to improve. You don't want to be some of these teams that are in the lottery forever, like the Charlotte Hornets. Eventually you got to get better. And I think the Jazz are getting better. And Ace Bagley was a great pick, and I love everything I've seen about him. And on the other side tonight, you're going to have Cooper Flagg, the player that every Jazz fan wanted. Is this going to be a thing moving forward where every time these two players play against each other, because they're in the same draft class, that we're going to remember that and they're going to be compared?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll more so be from the Jazz perspective. Like it'll be like, oh, that guy is the guy that we had to watch a 17-win season for. We didn't even get him. We better beat the socks off the Mavericks tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cooper Flagg has been awesome this year. 17.5 points per game, basically 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists. But also has with Anthony Davis missing a lot of games. Of course, Kyrie Irving is out for the Mavericks. He's had a lot of opportunity. And if you're watching the Jazz every single night, Ace Bailey definitely hasn't had the opportunity that Cooper Flagg has, but he's still been awesome. As I mentioned earlier, he's at about 10 points, and he's showing the ability to rebound and the ability to get his stuff within the offense. In the last game on Friday, he had an awesome lob from Keontae George. I think that Ace is coming along slowly, and I think that you've seen in previous years with the Jazz's young players, they've kind of just been thrown in the fire. Like a good example of that is Cody Williams, and he struggled mightily in his rookie year. I think the Jazz realized, okay, we could really have one with Ace Bailey, so let's put him in the best situations and not put too much on his plate from day one, and I think it's been a lot of great signs so far.
What's the update on George Niang? I know that they sent out an update today on that health, and this roster is kind of interesting because guys like, Kevin Love and I think eventually, and I'm sure George is one of those guys that already dips in and probably puts his arm around some of these young guys, but there's this mix of veteran leadership and really young guys on this roster, and I think having a guy like George Niang coming off the bench would be really fun for this team and would help maybe in the losing games part. Not that I'm trying to diss on George Niang, but this is a guy that could definitely do, I think, a lot of the stuff that Kevin Love's been asked to do, which is like really put an arm around these guys and teach them how to be pros.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was, as you mentioned, it was announced today he will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. He's still dealing with that left foot injury. When he does eventually come back, I expect him to have a similar role to Kyle Anderson, where you're like maybe not going to play every single night. Some nights you might get 20 minutes a game. Other nights you'll be riding the pine the whole night. But from a leadership standpoint, absolutely, he also has experience in Utah, which I think is big. Maybe he's showing some of these guys places around the area. But, I expect him to not have a big role, definitely in the locker room more than anything else. But I guess it remains to be seen once he finally hits the floor.
We're more than a quarter through this season, and we mentioned Ace Bailey's obviously got a big future here, and Keontae George has been unbelievable. But I think the jury's still out on a lot of the young players on this roster, and a lot of them are getting opportunities and getting minutes. Who do you have the biggest concern about right now as far as their development, and what young player on this roster is feeling the pressure to start showing some better results?
Good question. I have 2 answers for you. First would be Isaiah Collier, because as I mentioned before, a lot of ups and downs for Collier this year. His first handful of games after returning from injury were awesome, and it was like, oh, he is showing he should be the backup point guard. Like, no doubt about it. Isaiah Collier is the backup to Keontae George, but then he's had some struggle, and, of course, the jump shot is always a question mark for him. So I would say that is the thing. What he does, getting downhill and finding open guys, he does it well. But the question is, can he stick in the NBA without a reliable jump shot? And then the other option is Bryce Sensabaugh. Coming into the year, I had Bryce Sensabaugh as a most improved candidate for the Jazz, not in the NBA race, but just for the Jazz, and also just thought he could be the sixth man for this team. But the lack of defense has made it to where he gets maybe 5 minutes in a game on occasional nights if he isn't come out of the gates hot. And, there's no doubt about the jump shooting for him, but it's, can you play defense? Can you run the offense well from your position? There's a lot of question marks surrounding Bryce, and that has been shown, especially from Will Hardy. There has been some frustrating moments from Will Hardy to Bryce this year, and it feels like some things are just not really clicking for him yet.
What other guys are you kind of having more questions than answers about this year on this roster?
I would say Taylor Hendricks is a good one. Of course, he's coming off an injury, so it's the fact that he's playing NBA basketball at all is a positive. But it's also the first few games of the year coming out of preseason, he was playing 20 minutes, and he got preseason, a lot of preseason appearances. And early in the year, he was playing consistently, and now it's maybe he's only played in 13 of the games so far this year. He's been sent down to the SLC Stars, and it could just be as simple as he is getting his wind. He had a lot of energy right as the season was starting, and now he's like, oh, okay, I am not ready for an 82-game season yet. So that is one to point out. I have also always been high on Taylor Hendricks. I love what he could bring as sort of a combo 4 with maybe one of the better defensive players on the Jazz when he's fully healthy. And then also just Cody Williams. It's been rough for Cody in his sophomore season, and I still think he just doesn't have the NBA body yet. He gets pushed around on defense all the time. But yeah, I would say those two, and then even the two from the previous question are ones that fit there.
Walt Clayton Jr., what do you like about what you've seen from him so far?
Yeah, Walt Clayton, not stats that pop off the page at you so far, but as a 4-year college guy, he comes in and he looks calm with the ball. A lot of his consistent minutes are coming in the fourth quarter of games that the Jazz aren't really in, but I have faith in him being the backup point guard for the Jazz, at least over the next couple of seasons, just because, like I mentioned, shooting is the shtick in the NBA right now, and he has that over Isaiah Collier. So once he does get more used to the NBA pace and space, and once his shot starts falling a bit more consistently, because right now he's at 30.9% from three, and I know, even in the NBA, he is at least a 34-35% shooter, if not better. So yeah, I think Walt Clayton has been awesome. Of course, it's his first 20 games of his NBA career, so it isn't going to be perfect, but I do have faith in him in being the second point guard for the Jazz.
You know, a lot is made of teams needing veteran players if they're young, and to be around these young players to kind of teach them the ropes and teach them how the league works. I don't buy that, because I think there's a lot of veteran players who aren't very good influences and don't actually do that. I think that's way, way, way overplayed. But I wanted to get your take on it. I feel like Kevin Love is one of those guys that is valuable. How valuable has he been for the team this season? Now, he's gotten a lot more minutes and played a lot more than I thought he would, but also he seems to be really embracing being here and being part of this group, supporting Will Hardy, and really helping some of these young players.
Oh, absolutely. And I would say that I both agree and disagree with you. I think that having veterans is helpful, but like you said, you don't want a bad influence veteran. Like for example, I think you would rather your veteran be LeBron James than J.R. Smith.
What?
But I think Kevin Love is absolutely right. A perfect example. He's built great relationships with Keontae George, even with Ace Bailey, even though there must be, a 20-year almost age difference between those two. But yeah, and then also just out of nowhere, he'll come into the Memphis game and drop 20 and 8, like it's the 2018 finals again. Right. So yeah, I think he has been awesome. And then also I think Svi has gotten a lot of flack from Jazz fans so far this year, but he has started 24 out of 24 games for a reason. He even though sometimes there might be some questionable shots, and just like Lowry, the foreign guys don't maybe have the loudest voice in the locker room, which is why you have a Kevin Love and even kind of Walker Kessler, even though you don't think of him as a veteran. There's been a lot of positive influences, and that's why you have those older guys in the locker room, even though you're like, why is Svi Mykhailiuk playing over Cody Williams, Taylor Hendricks, or one of these other guys that we need to see some progress from? There is a reason for it.
Chandler Holt, he hosts the Jazz Notes podcast, of course, with Ben Anderson, and then you can see his byline at KSLSports.com as well, covering this Jazz team. Chandler, thanks for help, man, and we're looking forward to see the superstar rookie coming into town and see what he can do.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, guys.
You bet. There you go. I love that idea. That was kind of you know what, I want to go down that rabbit hole a little bit more. The worst NBA veterans to have influencing your young people.
Mark Jackson.
Probably Westbrook. Probably Russell Westbrook a little bit, right? Like. I think that people generally liked him in the locker room. There were guys who didn't like. I think the J.R. Smith poll is probably as good as it was.
His competitiveness sometimes got a little, you know what I mean? Like he's another one of those guys. We talked about Diego Pavia earlier, where the competitiveness and the chip on your shoulder just gets to be a little much sometimes. It's kind of a compliment. It's just you're great and you've fought and you've battled and became what you are, but sometimes you don't know when to turn that part of you off. I think Darren Williams struggled with that when he was here as a young player. He's constantly trying to prove everybody wrong, and he had a little bit of attitude about it. And as he matured, he realized I didn't need to do that. I had a great situation, and I didn't need to act that way and be like that. And players mature and grow up, right? But it's a good question.
Ron Artest, maybe.
Oh, come on now.
Oh, no?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good one.
I'm just thinking all time.
That's an obvious one.
That's what I'm thinking all time.
But I don't know. At the end,
maybe in the locker room, the guys loved him.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know.
I think that there's a lot of insiders in the league that probably give us a better idea. But I agree with you. I would love to just have a segment where we're talking about bad vets.
Guys you want talking to, Keontae George.
Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes have a great podcast together right now. I don't know that they were great veteran influences.
Matt Barnes, yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those kind of guys. Like, I don't know if you want him to be your vet.
Hey, I was going to ask you a couple questions, Matt. Hey, and just this stuff I could see him telling some rookies.
Well, and stuff they're taking the rookies to go do after games.
Maybe Ja's not the best guy to hang out with either. I don't know.
Clearly not.
All right. We're going to take a break.
Maybe Ja didn't have the vet he needed.
Hey, that's it. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the problem. Didn't get the right mentorship. All right. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we've got ourselves a little bit more of a breakdown of this Jazz team and this Jazz game tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. So we'll see how this thing goes. I really want to see I've got the official availability report as well, and we'll go through that. So stay right here with us. More to go around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
You know what's coming.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time.
All season long and even in the off season. It's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex in 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Appreciate everybody joining us here on the program. We got a Jazz basketball game tonight over at Delta Center. It's going to be the Mavericks, Jazz. They're facing off of a couple of top 5 picks. Cooper Flagg he's been a really, really good rookie.
Yeah.
And, he's on pace to be the rookie of the year, right? Isn't that kind of...
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. He's the front runner. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and this class was considered still a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
But this next year's class is supposed to be crazy, right? So, I will see how that thing works out, but it's pretty wild. So the other night, the other night it was interesting to watch Keontae George have this 39 points because I think that he's been like this all year, but it felt different. It felt different 3 nights ago. He goes for 27 in the first half, and there was a different level of because I think he's always been a scorer, but 39 points is wild. And on a night where what did Lowry have? He had 29, right? Mm-hmm. Those guys, that is a pretty tremendous 1-2 punch that you didn't think was going to be happening this year. What's the reality of what you thought that Keontae George was going to do this year before the season started?
Nothing like this. Maybe average 12 points a game.
We were just hoping that he would be a little bit more steady, right?
Yeah.
Kind of walk the ball down
just
the floor.
Just show some progression.
And you were like waiting for these signature nights every other night. There might be those 3 for 12 shooting nights that he's been having in his career. And instead, those are so fewer and further between. He's had a couple of them this year. But you know that the new version of Keontae George has been something that he's turned a corner on.
He's averaging 22.9 points per game. He's almost in the realm of all-star consideration.
It's pretty crazy.
That's how good he has been. And then you see his assist numbers go up to 6.8. He's also not a liability on defense anymore. I don't expect him to be first team all defense, but he's got to be good enough that you can keep him on the floor where he's not giving up more points than he's actually getting. That is completely flipped as well. And so, yeah, the development has been phenomenal. The maturity level that you witness in his post-game interviews and the way he handles things on the court, all of that has just been phenomenal. It's a great story, and that's what you're trying to do here with the Utah Jazz, is they're trying to find these guys that can build this team into a championship caliber team. And Keontae, as young as he is absolutely a candidate for being part of that and potentially being the lead point guard for that group once it comes together. I think that's still in construction. I think there's still a lot of question marks about who's going to be a part of that and who isn't. I think there's going to be a lot of the young players on this team that aren't on this team next year because that's the process you have to go through when you draft these guys try to figure out who's going to play. There's not enough minutes for everybody. And eventually you make your decisions on them, and you move forward one way or the other. I think that Keontae George is making the decision easy for the Jazz about where his future is and the fact that it's here in Utah. Because I think there was a point maybe last year where you questioned that. Is Keontae George somebody who's going to be a part of the long-term plans for the Utah Jazz? Can he reach the maturity level that he needs to be an elite NBA player? Can he be an NBA point guard? Every question you had about Keontae George has been answered so far this season, and answered in a very positive way. What a phenomenal story he has been. I'm excited about his development. Just as an NBA fan, watching him play basketball, I love it. I love the energy he's playing with right now, and I love confidence, and he's got it. And he's going to be a big part of the future for this team. And that's a great story for this franchise because they need somebody to step up in that role. And can Ace Bagley continue to take steps? Ace Bailey's averaging 10 points per game. That's pretty good for a rookie who doesn't get the same amount of minutes. He only gets 23 minutes per game, and he's averaging 10. So Ace is doing well. He's coming along. I can see a Lowry, Keontae, Ace, Bailey pairing, Walker Kessler at center, and then whoever you draft in this upcoming draft next summer as being kind of the central figures, with Kyle Filipowski being a part of that. We talked about Bryce Sensabaugh in the last segment with Chandler. Is he there yet? I mean, I agree. I thought he was going to be playing a bigger role and having more production, and that still can come. Obviously, you learn your lesson with Keontae George. Don't close the door too quickly. Let these guys grow and develop. He's got some time to do that, but you see these young guys, and there's a lot of young guys on this team that are flashing those moments, and you hope, like Keontae, it comes to fruition.
So I went over to NBA.com to find something very specific, and because they do this I love these metrics, and they have the toughest remaining rest of the year schedule. And your initial thought is to go, I'm going to go see where the Jazz are, and they're right in the middle. So you got out of the 30 teams in the NBA, they're number 15 for the strength of schedule. So, but the interesting thing is, and this is what's tough, is that teams like Phoenix has the toughest go the rest of the year. Number one toughest strength of schedule the rest of the way. Sacramento's 2, and that's a team that has been really bad this year, and I don't think they're going to
get forever.
And I don't think they're going to get much better this year, especially if they have the second toughest road to try to get there. Portland has the 4th hardest. The Lakers have the 5th. I'm trying to look at other teams. So New Orleans is the 9th toughest schedule going forward the rest of the way. That's another team that you look at.
They
and you
dug
go,
themselves a big hole,
and it's not going to get any better, right? And so these are teams you're up against, right? When it comes to the
Kings have the second worst point differential in the league at 11.6 minus.
Ew.
It's bad.
Yeah,
they're not a good basketball team at all.
So you want to know something funny over the past little while? How about this? This is what's funny. The Jazz are 6-35 over their past 41 games against the Western Conference. Is that good? That's where you want to live.
Right.
They're 9-9 against the East in their last 18. What are you doing?
You have to play the East teams.
I know.
And they stink.
I know.
They stink. A lot of them stink. Even some of the playoff teams in the East stink. I mean, look at the list. Do you think the Hawks are really that good?
Nah. No.
They have some nice young players, but.
So the Jazz, it's tough. It's tough. So we'll see. Let me see here. Well, we got to take a quick break because then we're coming back. We'll take that break. Oh, I wanted to make mention, though, of something. You ready for this? Hans and Scotty are going to be out on Tuesday. That's tomorrow, noon to 3 during their program at My Hearing Centers. Go check it out. 8941 South, 7th East, Hans and Scotty at My Hearing Centers. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go. 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, so welcome back, by the way. JJ and Alex, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone. Man, it sucks. It sucks to be Shedeur Sanders right now, right? I know we're not in the sucks to be you segment, but best and worst kind of feels a little bit. You know, I can throw out the worst because the worst performance yesterday by a quarterback. Am I missing anybody? 18 for 36. That's a 50% clip.
That's not good.
177 through the air. 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for Shedeur. So,
well, the Bears are good.
Are they though? I don't know yet. I don't know what to think.
That Eagles win won me over. They're 10-4 now.
Oh, the Eagles just put it on. Who'd they beat? The Raiders.
Yeah.
Was that a shutout too? Oh my gosh, they are so bad.
I think it was. The
That's
Bears
really bad.
finished with the Packers and the 49ers.
Ooh.
I think if they go 1-1.
So they have 2 games.
Sorry, so the Packers, 49ers, Lions.
Okay, that's tough because
That game against the Lions could be a playoff.
Yeah, because the Packers and Lions are they're on the verge, right?
Yeah,
and the
So are the
Lions even
49ers.
more so. If the Lions miss the playoffs, like what are we looking at here? Like well, that's crazy for Dan Campbell and his guys.
yeah, that's not what everyone expected.
And I get you've got injuries on the defense, but man,
Yeah,
right? So, Jazz versus Mavericks tonight. What do you think is going to happen in this one, JJ? I subscribe a little bit to what Chandler was saying. It was just like not enough big men healthy right now on this roster.
yeah.
like, not even close.
I have to look at the injury report to answer that question, and as once I do, I think the Mavericks are
Okay,
going to win tonight.
Nurk out.
Yeah, that's a big loss.
So it's going to be.
As far as competitiveness goes, for those of you that want to keep that pick, tonight's a good night.
Bah. Okay. No, good.
And you get to see Cooper Flagg here in Utah.
Do you think Cooper Flagg's going to. Cooper Flagg has a little bit of the hair evolution like Gordon Hayward did. He's got to get married.
He'll
Let's
get
get
there
that hair
eventually.
dialed in.
He needs to get he needs to get
You're
married.
a cajillionaire.
That'll
We
make
got to
a
get
big
you
deal.
dialed in. Come on,
I agree.
man. Let's go. Get off the couch. Stop playing video games. Let's get you a hairdo. All right. All right. We'll take a quick break here, and then you'll be back to listen to. Doug Smith, by the way, brings you this portion of the program. Nobody knows cars like Doug. We'll take the break. Jazz next.